You were never born weak. You were never meant to live soft, safe, and scared. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to believe that quitting was acceptable. You were taught that if something felt uncomfortable, it meant it was wrong. That when things get hard, it's okay to stop. That voice didn't come from strength. It came from a world built on convenience, a world that fears discomfort, a world that glorifies mediocrity. That voice is a liar. It will whisper in your ear the moment you feel pressure, telling you that you've gone far enough. It'll creep into your mind and say you've earned a break, you've done more than most. But the truth is, that voice wants you average. It wants you soft, it wants you weak. Quitting doesn't protect you from pain, it chains you to it. Because the pain of quitting doesn't go away, it lives with you. It echoes in the back of your mind every time you face something difficult again. The mind is a master manipulator. It'll take a moment of fatigue and turn it into a false emergency. It'll take a temporary discomfort and turn it into a life or death decision. It tells you to quit because it wants to survive, not thrive. It's hardwired to keep you safe, not to make you great, so you can't listen to it. You've got to override it. You've got to train yourself to hear that voice and run straight through it. Every time you feel like stopping, that's the exact moment you need to push harder. That's the moment when the work actually begins. The easy reps don't build you. The pain, free miles don't strengthen you. Growth starts at the point where you want to stop. That's the gate. That's the wall you climb to reach the next level. Most people never get there. They hit resistance and immediately back off. They think pain means they're broken. They think struggle means they're on the wrong path. But that's because they've been fed lies their whole life. Lies about what it takes to be great. Lies about what it means to suffer. You've been told to listen to your body. You've been told to rest. You've been told that your best is good enough. But that's only true if your best leaves you broken on the floor. That's only true if your best is given when you're exhausted, bleeding, doubting every step, and still refuse to quit. Your mind will tell you you're done long before your body gives out. It lies to you. It wants you to shut it down. That's why you don't listen. You fight it. You challenge it. You put it in its place every single day, because if you don't, it will control your life. It will run the show. And you'll wake up one day wondering where your potential went. Comfort is the enemy. Safety is a trap. These are the things that look appealing in the short term, but they kill you slowly over time. They seduce you with the idea that life is supposed to be easy. That struggle is optional, that hard work is for the desperate. But those ideas are poison. They rob you of purpose. They steal your identity. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you're quitting in disguise. You're handing over your power. You're letting weakness win. You want to be uncommon. You want to be the one that rises while others fall. Then you better learn to love the war. You better train yourself to crave the struggle, because quitting is easy. Anyone can quit. It takes no courage, no strength, no discipline. What takes everything you've got is choosing not to. Choosing to keep going when quitting would be easier. That's the real test, and that test comes every day. It comes when you don't feel like getting up. It comes when the numbers on the scale don't change. When the results aren't showing, when the pain keeps getting worse, that's when the lie gets louder. It tells you it's not worth it. It tells you to walk away, but you don't negotiate with that voice. You don't give it power. You shut it down with action. You respond with discipline. You crush it with effort. You fight back with consistency. The mind that wants you to quit is the same mind that can be turned into a weapon, but only if you take control. Only if you put in the reps, mentally and physically. Only if you step into the fire again and again until you stop fearing it. There are no hacks, no shortcuts, no handouts. You either do the work or you live with the weight of quitting. That's it. That's the formula. Every time you get up when it's hard, every time you show up when it hurts, you're programming yourself not to quit. You're rewiring your identity. You're telling yourself, this is who I am. I finish what I start. I don't run when it's hard. I push harder. And over time, that becomes your standard. It becomes your baseline, and once that happens, nothing can stop you. Because your power doesn't come from talent. It doesn't come from motivation. It comes from the refusal to quit. It comes from the ability to look pain in the face and say, "You're not enough to stop me." It comes from the decision you make every single day and keep going no matter what. You've got to remind yourself of why you started. You've got to remember what's at stake, because the moment you quit, you don't just give up on the task. You give up on who you're becoming. You kill that version of you that could have been forged in fire. You deny yourself the transformation that only comes through suffering. The voice in your head that says stop is not your friend. It's your enemy. It doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't care about your purpose. It wants to protect you from pain, even if that means keeping you average for the rest of your life. But you didn't come this far to quit now. You didn't fight through all that just to lay down and give up. You're here because there's something inside you that refuses to die quietly. Something inside you that's still screaming, still clawing for more. That's the voice you feed. That's the voice you follow. Because that's the real you, the one that doesn't quit. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody is going to carry you to the finish line. You're not special just because you want something. The world doesn't care about your dreams. It only pays attention when you bleed for them. That's why talent alone means nothing. Desire means nothing. Even motivation is a joke if it's not backed by something deeper. The ones who win are the ones who wake up day after day and do what they said they were going to do. Not because they feel like it, not because the conditions are perfect, but because they're obsessed with keeping the promise they made to themselves. They're obsessed with becoming the person they said they'd be. That's not hype, that's discipline, that's obsession. That's what separates the average from the savage. Discipline isn't glamorous, it's not flashy. Nobody claps for you when you get up at 4 a.m. and hit the grind alone. Nobody celebrates the nights you eat bland meals, miss out on comfort, isolate yourself from distractions. But that's where the real work happens. That's where the foundation is built. You want to be a warrior? Then you better train like one. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient, every single day. Because the moment you give yourself permission to slack, to take it easy, to skip a rep, that's when you start falling. The fall doesn't happen in one big crash. It happens in quiet little compromises. It happens in all the ways you say just this once. And if you don't check it, those small cracks become permanent fractures. Discipline is about making sure that never happens. Obsession is the fire that keeps discipline alive. Without obsession, discipline dies. You've got to want it so bad it haunts you. It needs to be in your thoughts, in your steps, in your breath. You need to feel it burning in your chest when you're resting. You need to wake up in the middle of the night because your vision is calling you back into the fight. Obsession isn't unhealthy, it's required. The world will tell you to balance your life. The world will tell you to relax, take time off, give yourself a break. That's how people justify quitting. That's how they justify not going all in. But if your mission is to become something uncommon, something powerful, something that can't be broken, then obsession is the only way. You've got to live and breathe the process. People ask how you stay motivated. That's the wrong question. Motivation is soft. Motivation fades the moment the pain shows up. You need to ask how to build consistency, how to build structure, how to keep going when every part of you is screaming to stop. That comes from discipline. That comes from showing up no matter what. Rain, pain, failure, it doesn't matter. You show up, you punch the clock, you do the work. That's how you build the foundation. That's how you build trust with yourself. Every time you finish what you started, you reinforce your identity. You prove to yourself you can rely on you, and that's where true confidence is born. Not from success, but from keeping your word in the dark when no one is watching. This isn't about working hard for a week or a month. This is about grinding for years without applause. It's about stacking days, weeks, months, even when the progress is invisible. Most people don't last that long. They get bored. They want instant results. They want to see change now. But that's not how transformation works. It takes time to become a weapon. It takes time to become so sharp that nothing can cut you down. You have to be willing to play the long game. You have to be patient with results but ruthless with effort. That's how discipline wins. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't need permission. It shows up and it executes. You've got to program your mind to treat discipline like oxygen. It's not optional. It's not a nice to have. It's a requirement for survival. Because the moment you stop being disciplined, you become reactive. You start letting the world control you. You start depending on emotions to get things done, and emotions are fragile. They'll abandon you the moment pressure shows up. That's why you need structure. You need rules. You need to be the kind of person who doesn't ask how they feel before doing what needs to be done. You don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for the stars to align. You wake up and do the damn work. Because that's what killers do. That's what winners do. That's what people who refuse to quit do. You think the greats became legends by chance. You think they were lucky. They built it brick by brick with discipline so intense it broke people around them. They outlasted pain. They didn't just want it. They became it. The difference is they didn't negotiate with themselves. They didn't entertain doubt. They didn't let weakness rent space in their head. That's where you've got to go. You've got to stop negotiating. You've got to stop waiting for the mood to strike. You've got to build habits so solid they carry you when everything else fails, when your motivation dies, when your energy tanks, when your emotions betray you, your discipline keeps marching. This path isn't for everyone. It's for the obsessed, the locked in, the disciplined, the relentless, the ones who aren't afraid to look like fools while they chase something bigger than comfort. That's what you've got to decide. Are you here to live safe, or are you here to test your limits? Because if you're serious, you've got to eliminate options. You've got to delete excuses. You've got to live like someone who already made the choice to become undeniable. That means no plan B. That means no backup. That means burn the damn boats and go to war every single day with only one outcome. Win or die trying. You want to know what quitting looks like. It looks like comfort. It looks like staying in bed. It looks like skipping the reps. It looks like promising yourself you'll try again tomorrow, then not showing up. That is how average is born. That is how lives are wasted. But if you're tired of being average, if you're ready to take everything that's in you and forge it into something unbreakable, then discipline and obsession are the only way. There is no other path. There is no hack. There is no secret formula. There's just you, the clock, the grind, and the choice to show up again and again until you become something the world can't stop. Pain doesn't ask for permission. It shows up uninvited, unannounced, and it doesn't care if you're ready. It'll knock on your door in the middle of the night. It'll drag you out of your comfort zone. It'll strip you of everything soft and easy until all that's left is the raw, unfiltered version of you. And in that moment, you've got two options. You either run from it or you stand tall, take every hit and keep moving. Because pain isn't your enemy. It's the proving ground. It's the fire that forges you into something different, something harder, something that can't be broken when the world tries to crush you. Everyone wants to be strong until it's time to suffer. Everyone wants to be unstoppable until life demands a price, and the price is always pain. That's the ticket. That's the toll. No one becomes unbreakable without bleeding for it. The problem is, people think pain is a sign to stop. They think it means something's wrong. That's because they've lived their lives in comfort. They've avoided discomfort at every turn. They've been taught that struggle is something to be avoided, that hardship is a mistake, that failure is a red light. But the truth is, pain is the green light. Pain means you're on the path. If it's easy, it's not helping you. If it's painless, it's not changing you. Growth doesn't come from smooth roads. It comes from sharp edges, from torn hands, from exhausted lungs and pounding hearts. You build something real when your legs are giving out, and you decide to take one more step. That's where transformation happens. That's the line most people never cross, because it hurts, because it sucks, because it demands more than they thought they had. But that's the exact reason you need to keep going. Because that's where you meet the version of you who doesn't break. You can't fake toughness. You can't pretend you're a savage. Either you've been through the fire or you haven't. Either you've earned your scars or you're still afraid to bleed. Pain will expose you. It'll strip away the lies you tell yourself. It'll reveal the truth about who you are when there's nothing left but grit and resolve. And if you want to be the kind of person who never quits, who never backs down, who never folds under pressure, then you've got to learn how to live in the pain, not just survive it. Thrive in it. You've got to welcome it. You've got to invite it in like an old friend, because the more you suffer, the more you grow. The more you hurt, the more you harden. You don't get stronger without breaking down first. You don't become elite without going through hell. And when you understand that, you stop fearing pain. You start using it. You're going to bleed. You're going to fall. There will be days when your body gives up on you, when you can't catch your breath, when your muscles scream, when your mind tells you 100 times to stop. But those aren't the days that define your limits. Those are the days that define your character. That's when your soul gets tested. That's when you reach into the darkest parts of yourself and pull out something you didn't know existed. That's when you stop being who you were and start becoming who you're meant to be. Pain is the currency of transformation. And if you're not willing to pay, you'll stay broke for the rest of your life. Broke in your mind, broke in your habits, broke in your goals, because the life you want costs pain. And the people who win are the ones who pay the price without hesitation. Most people want the reward without the suffering. They want the results without the grind. They want to stand at the top of the mountain without climbing it. That's not how it works. The path to strength is through punishment. It's through sleepless nights, through lonely mornings, through reps that break your body and rebuild your will. The grind isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to change you. It's supposed to break the weak version of you and replace it with something relentless. Something violent, something so dangerous that life itself has to step back. That's what pain can do if you let it, but you've got to lean into it. You've got to take every blow and ask for more. You've got to smile while you're suffering, because you know it's taking you somewhere you've never been. Your relationship with pain determines your potential. If you run from it, you'll always be limited. You'll always fold under pressure. But if you train yourself to embrace it, to use it, to extract power from it, you become a different breed. You become untouchable, and that's what this is about. Not just surviving pain, but weaponizing it. Taking every scar and turning it into armor. Taking every failure and turning it into fuel. That's how you build mental toughness. That's how you build emotional resilience. It's not about never feeling pain. It's about refusing to let pain control your actions. It's about deciding, in the middle of hell, that you're not done, that you've still got more, that quitting is not on the table. That's where the shift happens. That's where you earn the right to call yourself disciplined, focused, unbreakable. There will be moments when you're completely alone. No audience, no applause, just you and the pain. And in those moments, the real decision gets made. Not when people are watching, not when the lights are on, but when it's dark, when it's cold, when you're exhausted and no one would blame you for stopping. But you keep going anyway. That's the decision that builds warriors. That's the moment you decide who you really are. And if you make the right decision often enough, it becomes who you are, not just what you do. You stop being someone who tries. You become someone who finishes. You become someone who hunts down challenges. Someone who doesn't need comfort because pain is where they thrive. So when the suffering comes, don't flinch. Don't run. Don't beg for it to stop. Lean into it. Get familiar with it. Make it your training partner, because every ounce of pain is making you stronger, sharper, harder. It's sculpting you into a version of yourself that nothing can break. But you've got to go through it. Not once, not twice, over and over until you stop fearing it, until pain becomes just another part of the process, until suffering is just the price you gladly pay to build something legendary.